Good evening, everybody. How is everybody in King Dolphin land?
Wonderful.
Good. And I am Raymond, the ruler of King Dolphin TV. And as you heard, I have one of the magnificent wrenches and a communications person in her own right. She's the communications officer for Clobbering Times when we do our Star Trek discussions. Please give a King Dolphin TV to welcome to Antiderivative Jill. Welcome, Jill.
Yes, thanks for having me today. I can't wait to talk about this TV show that I love so much. And I do like talking about Star Trek every Saturday on Clobbering Times at 9 p.m.
Yes, I enjoy it too. I think your reviews are the stuff of legends.
Thank you.
But before we get going, let's welcome those that are in the chat. Welcome to John Rendell. How are you, sir? Welcome aboard. Welcome to the the early bird of the chat, Legatus Legion I. Hello to Snorra Poopas, Cuber, the most intelligent bear I ever knew. Sandra, thanks, honey. My Ace Wrench, my producer, my other half. What else can I say? Let's see. Fabio.
What? I thought Snortopoopas Cuber was a polar bear. No,
Yeah,
he's a brown bear.
Yeah, he's a polar bear. Fabio
Looks
100.
like a brown bear now.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. I think I said I meant to say something else, and it probably came out wrong. But oh well. Hello, Fabio 100. Welcome to all the chat, and we will say hello to any new additions that come in. So, I was looking for this episode. I was looking forward to this episode from the very beginning, and I thought about after listening to a lot of the Star Trek discussions, I kind of said, okay, we gotta wait till all 7 episodes, all 4 movies, and before we start talking about DS9. And I said, why not talk about it? I mean, we're not going to do the same format as Raquel or Clobbering. We're just going to talk about the episodes, and we can both share our love for this episode. I mean, for this series. So I thought of no other person who could help me with this than Antiderivative Jill. She told me that she out of the 4, she told me she has a lot of love for this series, and I thought she'd be a great person that we could talk about it. Of course, this is more than 1 episode, so don't worry. We will probably do a few more of these episodes. So
yes, there's a lot more.
Yeah.
To have to say than we have time for.
Exactly. So, Jill, what did you out of the 5 series, where would you put it?
So I can't put anything above the original series for me. So and after that, TNG follows so closely to it that those two are just together for me. So Deep Space Nine comes in third for me.
Okay. I strangely enough, obviously for me, the original series is the gold standard. It had its flaws, but it was still the gold standard. Next Generation, a lot of it was, for me, because I wasn't watching it for the early part of the seasons. I was unable to watch them first run. I had to see them
In
through bootlegged
syndication.
tape.
Oh
Not so,
wow, bootleg. Wow.
yeah. Well, I was in Germany at the time, so it's very hard to get TV first run TV programs, even in syndication. And and there are some good episodes of TNG, and as we discuss on Saturday nights, there's a lot of inconsistency with TNG.
No kidding. You can have some A+ episodes next to some real stinkers.
Yes, definitely. But when Deep Space Nine came out, it was like, for me, it was like, wow.
It had more consistency once it found its
Yes,
footing.
exactly. I mean, this first season was slow. I mean, it did take some time to get its legs, but
They say it
after,
grew its beard.
hmm?
They say eventually it grew its beard.
Oh, definitely, definitely, definitely. So with me, it is kind of a coin toss. I would probably put this right behind um, not the original series. I would probably put this behind the original series, with Next Generation a close third, if not tied.
Very good.
Yeah. So, um, okay. Well, we're we'll go ahead and what we're what I'd like to do is we'll take turns and we'll just talk about why we like it. Then we'll go into our favorite characters, and if we have time, we can go into some of the arcs that we that really stuck out to both of us. So, because you're the guest, and ladies first, I will let you go first. Why do you like Deep Space Nine?
Well, I love it because it has you can see one episode and it has consequences in the next episodes that follow. So, um, really, in order to talk about why I love it, I have to actually admit that I didn't love it at first. Because at first I had that notion that, hey, Star Trek is about going out there and exploring and being on a starship and everything. And so just being stuck on a space station didn't jive with me at first. But then I realized that it was everybody in the galaxy comes to the station.
Mm-hmm.
And and then another problem I thought I had with it, was that it explored a lot of religion. And Gene wasn't really into that. But I realized that the religion in Deep Space Nine is not the kind that Gene wants to avoid, because it's based on it's backed up with actual aliens who do exist, even though they really are kind of ethereal, and that they're able to see the past and the present and the future. And um, but they also remind me a bit of the Guardian Forever in that sense. And 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 that kept me watching. So, but what sells this show to me beyond that were the complex characters and how they grow um, over the series. And although I watch all of Trek by random, I have to admit it's been a while since I've seen many of these episodes, and so I still have so much more of the show to rewatch, and I'm excited to go do that. I don't know why I don't watch this show every day after what I've been through.
uh, yeah. Well, that's good. That's a good start. Um, that's a good start, and glad it's going to um, be able to get you back into liking or at least watching the series and deciding that this definitely is one of the better Star Trek series. Um, Goddess Legionai says, "Did you discover the missing rules of acquisition, Jill?"
Oh, right, because they do announce many of the rules of acquisition between Cork and the other Ferengis, but
Mm-hmm.
they don't give us all of them, do they? So
Nope, they don't.
so we've got to fill them in ourselves.
Yeah.
I don't know.
The
No, I didn't. That's a good question, though.
Yeah, and then of course Nordapupus tells us his favorite episodes. Oh, we'll talk about these two. We'll talk about these two Snort eventually. Um, so the reason I like it is it shows the reality. It shows that space is not necessarily a safe place to be. Um, to me, it shows the Star Trek and Star Trek: The Next Generation show the more idealized version of space exploration, but Deep Space Nine is more of the gritty side of space exploration. A comparison to it now would be The Expanse. I would say The Expanse comes close to matching Deep Space Nine in grittiness. Um, I liked that they did the overarching. They went into an overarching arc. The Where it started, that Starfleet had to be nation building. And if you looked at history, you can tell that nation building doesn't necessarily happen um, easily. You're going to have fits and starts and probably failures. So Starfleet had to do nation building on Bajor after the occupation, and that was underlined the whole time. Including once you've got the Dominion Cold War, the Federation Klingon War, and then the big Dominion War. Those really intrigued me because as an amateur historian, I love trying to figure out like the how nation buildings have fallen flat on their faces. They've had great intentions, but not necessarily the success that you wanted to. And I agree with you. Character development was amazing. And you could tell that from Emissary, that it was going to be more with the human. But even though they were
Yes.
slow, there were in like the beginning season, you had good, you had bad, but throughout the whole thing, you saw that development of and
Yes, and you're right. Emissary, we have Cisco who's still grieving and having to deal with taking care of his son
mm-hmm,
and
exactly.
his Starfleet stuff.
His Starfleet career here, he was ready to toss it out the window. And the twists as they went on and added those twists throughout the series, it was just absolute. I love them, and I especially me because when I do my writing in my stories, I loved plot twists. I love putting in plot twists where you think it's going to happen one way, and the next thing you know, you're going, "What the heck is this maniac thinking of?"
Me too. Yes.
So, so I love the twists, and
And there's a fine line between, showing something that's unexpected, but it also following the story structure and actually making sense with
Oh,
what
yeah.
happened before.
Yes, definitely.
Oh,
And this one was also, this is the second series with aliens as lead characters. We're going to get into these characters, but who could not fail to love Quark, Odo, and Kiera? The characters were the characters were well written. The actors just brought them to life. They were just amazing characters. So we I mentioned here in my notes, did they steal from Babylon 5? I don't think so. What the similarities were, they were on space stations.
Yeah, that's about as far as the similarities go. From what I hear, that show was pitched to Paramount, but the creators of the show don't say that they'd never heard of any of that they didn't know about that pitch. And it's clear because the shows both have their own distinct identities. And despite both having darker tones, Starfleet still tried to maintain that idea that they wanted to uphold that utopia. And Starfleet officers still largely treated each other with respect. And the conflict, the reason why Deep Space Nine is so much grittier is because the conflict came from the other aliens on the ship interacting with the Starfleet officers. So, whatever fans might say, the shows actually became friends with each other. So there was no, they didn't do any legal battles against each other or anything. And what happened was even Star Trek actors showed up on Babylon 5, like Major Barrett.
Walter Koenig. He was a major character on there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Bester.
And so I definitely agree that Deep Space Nine didn't steal from Babylon 5, or else it wouldn't have been Star Trek at all.
That's true. That's true. And I was actually thinking about it, even some of the technical things within the station. Oh, but let me interrupt myself. Rennie A., thank you for coming. Welcome here.
Hi, Rennie.
But the station had throughout its entire time, it had a way to defend itself. It had those cool little fighters that they had. But Deep Space Nine, Starfleet left them out to dry.
Yeah, right. They didn't have any armadas or anything, or any ships hanging around until you had the Defiant. They just had these little runabouts.
Yeah, runabouts aren't very defensive. And I mean, they had a fake, when the first confrontation with the Cardassians, they had to bluff their way with 6 torpedoes. So yeah, Starfleet left them out to dry. So that's
they did. They had to be creative.
Oh yeah, definitely. Fortunately, they had O'Brien. Yeah. So
yeah, and he grew a lot.
Oh yes, definitely. I liked how he grew as a character in the series. So, anything else that we want to talk about? Why we like it? Or should we just go into the characters?
We could do that.
Let's go into the characters. We actually, as we were talking about this chat, Snorter Pooper says he became such a breakout character. I think he was part polar bear. Yeah, I could see that. What we did is, because they have such a large group of lead characters, and then the supporting characters became such breakout characters, uh, we decided to split the conversation into our favorite characters. And Jill, if you want to add something to mine, that's perfectly all right. Or if I have some comments with yours, I hope that's all right with you.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Well, I love Cisco. I When I found out, I'm dating myself, so I I enjoyed watching Spencer for Hire. I enjoyed him in A Man Called Hawk. He he was just the quintessential badass. And when I found out that he was going to be the captain of the space, the commander of the space station, I was very excited. Because I thought that he was going to bring that same pathos into that role. Um, I I I did like that he had baggage from the once he got to the station, when he saw, because he was part of the Wharf 359 battle, in which where he lost his wife. I felt that added attention to him, because one, he had a son that he had to raise on his own.
Yeah,
So,
and you never saw anybody so upset at Picard.
I thought
that
I thought that when he went in there, you could see that it took all his ability to keep from hauling off and belting Picard,
mm-hmm.
and just turn it into a verbal punching. That was just,
Yeah, and he did a very good job keeping that in, but still portraying that grief.
yeah. Hello, PJ. Welcome, Orville Nation. Hope you'll enjoy this. Conversation. But yeah, it would have been nice to see him belt Picard, but it was
No, but
just seeing him.
at least we get to see him do that for Q, though.
Yeah, that's true. We'll get into that. And when I was kind of disappointed that they decided to not have him have the bald head and the beard at first, because I am sorry, that's Avery Brooks.
And he says that that's how he feels the most comfortable as a person too.
When he's bald with the goatee.
Yes, that is him.
Yes, definitely. The tension that he had between being a Starfleet officer, suddenly realizing that he's a religious leader, I thought was compelling. I've not been. I know you've heard me on the Star Trek, on the Next Generation things, that the Prime Directive is important, but it should not be the excuse to let everything go to crap.
Yes.
And so it's one of these that you can, as long as you can make your arguments logical that why you had to violate it, unlike P-Hard, you could do it. Now
it's
here,
more useful as a compass.
Pardon?
The Prime Directive is useful as a compass, moral guide, rather
Right,
than steadfast.
right. The spirit, not the letter. Um, so so now you know that Cisco has to Cisco has this religious leadership, and now he has to play a fine line with the Prime Directive to protect Bajor, and that's through the entire series, but he pulls it off really well in dividing the interests of the Federation with the interests of Bajor.
Yeah, it takes him a while to accept the fact that he's the emissary for the people of Bajor,
Hmm.
and what is difficult for him to accept is that there are going to be prophecies that may have come from the wormhole aliens, but since they're so vague and metaphorical, it's hard to know how to interpret them.
Hmm.
So I think Dax says it best when she says, "Then it seems to me you have a choice. You can either make your own decisions, or you can let these prophecies make them for you."
True.
And it's when he stands by his own convictions that the prophecies come true anyway, because he is the emissary.
Exactly. And then, spoiler alert, we're going to have a lot of those. I'm going to let you know now. We're going to have spoilers on this because we're discussing characters. When I found out his origin in season 7, it was like, it took me, I was surprised, but then I said, wait a minute, they were building up to this totally. This was
Mhm.
this was started from the very beginning. They meant, um, and it was a logical conclusion that he was actually a prophet.
Mhm.
So that, I think that
Yeah,
puts it
yeah,
in.
links it back to the very beginning.
Mm-hmm, yeah. So he isn't actually. He's not only the emissary, but technically he's a prophet. So and I so so after I got through the initial surprise, I said, "This is perfectly logical." Um,
Hmm.
and and then he became. I We know deep down he's a warrior, and um, as you see in the Dominion War, he knew the Hadar maniacs. He know they're
Yes.
bad, but he also knows that the Vorta are worse. So you can see that he shows empathy to them, but he still has to do his duty.
Yes, they're bad because the Dominion have no respect for solid life. So they've created these beings that also have no respect not only for others' lives, but not neither for themselves either.
Hmm.
Almost, that's
Victory
why
is
they're
life.
willing to. Yeah, that's why they're willing to smash a ship in order to destroy the Odyssey in a suicide run,
Hmm.
because victory is what's important to them.
Yep, victory is life. Um, and we he has also showed, spoiler, in the Pale Moonlight, that he's willing to do whatever it took to end this slaughter, including in it including
Including,
compromising.
encouraging Garrick to do the things that Garrick does.
Yes, that's true. Which Garrick does very well.
Extremely well, to the point that Cisco is upset about it at first, but then
Hmm.
realizes that it was necessary.
Yeah, it was for the greater good. So, did you want to add anything else to this uh, to Cisco?
I think you did it perfectly.
Good.
Uh,
And Cisco's the only one that can get away with punching Q.
right. Picard never did that.
Yeah.
And you notice that after that, we never see Q again on Deep Space Nine.
That's
He
true.
doesn't bother coming back.
That's true. He's the bane of Janeway's life.
Yeah, yeah. Janeway puts up with him a little more than
Cisco.
Cisco
Yeah.
did. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Q's even like, well, Picard would banter with me, philosophy and stuff, and
You just punch me.
you just punch me.
Yeah, there are some. Let's see, the chat's going wild about the punching Q.
Yeah, that is a wonderful moment, and
Yeah.
that really sets him apart as a captain.
Mhm.
Even though he's not a captain yet, we keep calling him
Yeah.
that because he doesn't present himself as a commander. He presents himself already as a captain.
Yeah, definitely. I like John Randall says, I kind of thought Cisco seemed like he was in a battery commercial at first, but soon he grew on me and seemed a lot more comfortable in those roles. I don't know. I've seen some badasses in. Again, I'm dating myself. I've seen some badasses do some battery commercials. Robert Conrad was a badass as a battery commercial. But yeah, I could see that. Getting uncomfortable at first and then later becoming the more comfortable in his role. My thought is when they let him be, and I'm going to go back to this, when they let him be Hawk, he's great. When they let him be anybody other than Hawk, nah. But
yeah, that's why they didn't let him have the beard and the bald head at first, was because they didn't want people to see Hawk. But that's just who he is.
Yeah, but that's him. That's him. So who do you want to go? Who do you want to go after, Joe?
Well, I'll go after my favorite character first.
Okay.
And by favorite character, I don't mean that I forgive him for everything he does. But the reason I'm so drawn to Garrick is because probably myself, I'm probably the opposite of him. I think that Julian also serves this role as a counterpart to him, as a foil. And I'm so trusting and I'm so gullible that I need someone like Eric to show me that sometimes things aren't what they seem.
Yeah.
As such, not being anything like him, I admire him, even though some things he does are kind of immoral. I mean, one of the worst things he does. Okay, he tortures Odo,
Mm-hmm.
because he's reintroduced to his past, with that Tane. He goes on mission with Tane, to go uh, uh, to go fight the Dominion.
Right.
And in order to prove his loyalty, he's got to do this torture. Otherwise, somebody else is going to do it and possibly kill Odo. So he has to do it. But it kills him to do this, to revisit his past. And he realizes that he could never be that guy that he used to be. He is not the same person who enjoyed this type of thing in the past, because it looks like it puts him almost in as much pain as Odo is, to the point that he's begging Odo, please just tell me anything so I can stop this. But one thing he does that's even worse than that, I mean, I'm just telling you all the bad things he's doing, but these things are what make him a fascinating character. When they go save Odo, or wait, no, yeah, they go to the Founder's homeworld to go save Odo because he's sick. The Founders made him sick, so now he has to go answer for his crimes. And so he's on the planet with Cisco and Bashir and Garrick and Worf are on the Defiant. And And when Garrick asks one of the founder before they go on the planet, Garrick asks the founder, "Were there any survivors of my people?"
I
And
remember that episode. Yes.
the founder tells him, "There are no survivors, and you know what? You're dead too. They're all dead. Everybody's dead." So this threat of all his people leads Garrick to want to destroy the founder's home planet, even though his friends are on there. Now
Right.
that's completely a horrific crime, and,
Mm-hmm.
but it's a very human thing to want to do.
Mm-hmm.
And uh, and like you said before, he's capable of doing what other people can't, which is
Exactly.
why it, which is why Cisco turns to him to help him to do what needs to be done to bring the Romulans into the war, which
Yep.
turns out, I mean, it turns out to be the right move because the Romulans really do help turn the tide there.
Mm-hmm.
And Garrick doesn't believe that there is a truth, and that the truth itself is just an excuse for the lack of imagination. And it's not just that, though. I think what first made me love Garrick was that he's just so witty and charming, so he makes me laugh. And so
Yeah.
I really love all the major story plots and the arcs that we're going to talk about. But nothing delights me more than just hearing Garrick criticize, William Shakespeare or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I like the episode where the him and Bashir go in or play spies, and you could tell that Garrick that's Garrick's life. You could see that in him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for a while he keeps everything so mysterious that you don't know really what to believe about him, and
Yeah.
that's also what
The
draws me
one
to him.
the only thing before I go on, welcome, son of a red shirt. Hope you're enjoying yourself so far. Snorter Poopa says it's a good thing that Picard was being tortured by Gul Madred and not Garrick. Garrick would have had him seeing 12 lights and wearing a snazzy
And
suit.
all he would have to do is stare at him. He does it just with his eyes.
Exactly. Exactly. Just stare at him. Oh, you have got this Fat for Hire. Hail Fat for Hire.
Hello, Pet Fryer.
He
Yeah.
he made me into a meme. He took the Picard tortured by Gul Madred, and there's a picture of me saying there are 3 lights. He was joking because if you don't have a splash logo, when you set up YouTube,
Yeah.
you get the 3 dots. And at first I was kind of complaining, so he decided to turn it into a meme. You got to see it. I'll have to pull it up for you.
Oh yeah, definitely pull that up. That's
Yes,
relevant to me.
yes, he is amazing. Yes, Fat for Hire is amazing. But yeah, the one thing I was kind of disappointed on with Garrick is we never found out why Gul Dukat hates him.
Well, we know Garrick also hates him. They both hate each other.
Yeah,
Because
they
there's
both
what
hate each other,
that
but it was never brought up as to why they hate each other.
No, that's true. But Garrick has this thing where he wants to do right by by the Cardassia. He wants his people to be free, and he wants things to be good on Cardassia. But he also has this um, hatred for what it's turned him into.
Mm-hmm.
Um, in order to be patriotic, he's had to do terrible things.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't know. I don't know if that has anything to do with it. I don't know. I don't know
Yeah,
exactly why he hates Ducat either. That's a good
yeah.
question.
Andy Masterson, welcome. He says Andrew Robinson did such a good job playing the serial killer Scorpio in Dirty Harry. I've always struggled to like him in any role. I haven't seen. I'm probably one of the few who
I
have not seen the original Dirty Harry.
Yeah, when I was watching stuff about Garrick, they kept saying, "Oh, well, he was that guy who hurt all those school children on that bus in San Francisco," and I didn't know what they were talking about. But then I figured out it was that.
Huh. Okay.
But Bashir once tells the story of the boy who cries wolf, concluding that if you tell too many lies, no one will believe you when you finally tell the truth. But
Mhm.
Garrick has a different response to that. He says, you should never tell the same lie twice. And he draws me as a character because the writers weren't afraid to make him imperfect, to counter against the evolved humans that Star Trek gives us as an inspiration for us to aspire towards. And, he helps me remember that everything isn't always as it seems, and that
Mhm.
it's all true, especially the lies.
Oh yeah. Yes, that was one thing that endeared me to Garrick as well. Um, the One of the funniest ones is where he's trying to get Worf to. Uh, he loved pulling Worf's chain. Um, he he wrote a request to go into Starfleet Academy, and wanted Worf to endorse him.
Oh, yeah. But at
And
least Worf's like, you don't really want to be at Starfleet.
Garrick says, "Oh,
No, but I've got to practice my lying.
exactly, exactly." And this isn't the first time he's pulled Worf's chain. I'm like, okay, but they, I'd say they grew into an easy partnership.
Yeah,
Um,
because Worf is such a good guy that he's willing to give Garrick more chances than he deserves.
mhm. And when they were on the spoiler on the prison moon, and Garrick proved himself to be worthy, that um, worthy of Worf's respect, really touched me.
Yeah.
Of course, it could have been just the fact that Worf was getting the crap beat out of him every single day.
Mhm. Yeah, right. Well, yeah, because he had to face his fear, and Worf really respected that Garrick was going back in that wall, even
Hmm.
though he was just even though he was just became catatonic having to do it.
Hmm.
But
Exactly.
he knew that was the only way out, so he went back in there, and that's how he earned Worf's respect for sure.
Yeah. Before we go to our next character, Son of a Red Shirt is giving me grief for not seeing the original Dirty Harry. I've seen some of the sequels, just not the original Son of a Red Shirt. But we're
Oh, there are
digressing.
so many things I haven't seen. I'm willing to see them. I just haven't. Yeah, poor Worf. Yeah,
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 poor
he
Worf.
gets beat up in that episode.
Oh
It's
yeah,
so bad.
yes,
He gets beat up so bad that the Jem'Hadar is like, I can't even. It's not even fun anymore. I can't even
yeah,
do this.
yeah, exactly.
I
Uh,
can kill him, but I can't defeat him.
yep, he's gonna die hating me. Okay. Um, I'm going. I'm going to talk about. You know what? I'm going to tie. Yeah, I'm going to go talking about Kiera. Um, she she was a former member of the Bajoran Resistance, rose to major in the militia. She became second in command of the station. She first had issues with Starfleet running the station because, and she said it herself in Emissary, she thought that Bajor was changing one occupier for another. Uh, she then
You
had
have point.
she did have a, oh yeah, definitely. Um, she then have the working relationship became grudging. She said, okay, you're here. I can't get rid of you. I guess I'll work with you. And then it changed as he became the emissary, and accepted his role as the emissary, and and it changed to um, I can't say it was an acolyte because she still had a friendship with him.
Yeah, well, she had a professional relationship, and then how
Mm-hmm.
she felt about him in regards to her religion.
Mm-hmm. Right, and it did later become friends, but then everybody in the
Mhm.
in the station became more of a family.
Yes, they
Uh,
did.
Obviously, she detests the Cardassians. One in particular, we know who that is. And it becomes worse. Spoiler alert. After he has to quote Snortopoopas snoo snoo with her mother.
Her mom, yeah. Oh my god.
So, oh, this is going to have spoilers because this is the the these
Yes, we're
all
going to
help.
have a spoilers for a show that ran in 1993.
Mm-hmm.
So if you
That's
haven't
true.
seen Deep Space Nine,
That's true.
go watch Deep Space Nine.
Yeah. So she was not the original choice to be the um, the second in command. They actually wanted Laren uh, as the second in command because she was Bajoran. But I think the Rose actress Michelle Forbes. I don't think Michelle Forbes wanted to be typecast in this role, so she decided not to do it. So that's okay. Nana Versitor played an outstanding Kiera.
Yes, yes, she did, and she played it different from the way that we would have gotten from Ro.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I'm pretty grateful that she did.
Hmm. And there you also had the love tension from the very beginning between Kira and Odo, which I don't think would have worked with Ensign Ro.
No, there was a natural chemistry between those two actors that can't be faked, and that's
Yes.
the whole reason why they got together is because the people producing the show saw that.
Hmm. Yeah. Oh, I could see that. I've met Rene Auberjois in on a con, and he's just such a pleasant person and uh, really nice person, and he left us all too soon.
Yes, he did. He should. Yeah, he should still be here talking to us about his work.
Hmm. But yeah, their love relationship was one for the ages. Um,
Yeah, absolutely. It tied the whole show together too, in
mhm.
some ways.
Yep. And to think we have Vic Fontaine to thank for that.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Holograms can have a heart too.
Yes, definitely. Definitely. Um, so, what do you have anything to add to Kira?
Uh, no, I really don't. But she when she's introduced, she's on fire, and that fire is just never put out.
Hmm.
She's a expert problem solver, and she has strong leadership skills, and she's a really wonderful character to
Yeah,
watch.
and I'm glad they eventually made her a Starfleet officer. That was just absolutely uh,
Mhm.
it. I love that. Granted, it was
Well, she was doing
necessity.
all the work of one.
Hmm. Yeah, exactly. And actually, and granted, they had to do it because that was the only way they're going to get the Cardassians to trust her as they waged their guerrilla war. But still, as you said, she was already doing the work of a
Right,
star.
when she had to help Cardassia when they were trying to uh, go against the Dominion, the people of Cardassia, because the Dominion made the mistake of killing 2 million of them. So that was it for them.
Yep, that's true. Yeah. There are a lot of Michelle Forbes not liking in the chat. To be fair, though, she did make a very good Admiral Kane in Battlestar Galactica in the reboot.
Right. Yeah, that happens a lot with Star Trek actors. They think, "Oh wait, I'm too good for Star Trek. I can go off and do other things." But really, you could have earned our love by just hanging out.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Um, and actually, she didn't. Son of a red shirt. After the war, she went back to being in the last scene of the series. She did go back to being a Bajoran colonel. So you're right.
And I think ultimately that's the way she wanted it, because she wants to be a leader for Bajor, not
Mm-hmm.
not for Earth, not for
Right.
the Federation.
Mm-hmm.
Well, okay, maybe Bajor, unless Bajor joins the Federation, which I don't think
Exactly.
they've done yet.
No, they haven't joined yet. They don't join until sometime in the books, which are non-canon. Hello, Lord Thoth. Welcome. Glad to see you.
Hi, Lord Thoth.
All right. Who do you want to
It's great
tackle
to see
next?
everyone here. All right. Okay, for me, this is a duo, so I kind of have to put them together.
Okay. I know who. Go ahead.
I mean, there's just so many of these characters I want to talk about that we don't have time for.
Yeah.
Odo and Quark.
Yep.
Although they're different characters, I feel like I have to introduce them in one breath because they challenge one another. They have such a, at first, just a hate relationship, but that quickly formed into a love-hate relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And Quark has his roles of acquisition. Odo has the roles of this, whatever his roles are for the station. And sometimes both will break certain rules, though. Well, Quark is doing whatever he can to earn a profit, while Odo sometimes decides that his sense of justice can guide him better than whichever solids are running the station, whether it's Cardassia or the Federation. He has his own sense of justice that he follows.
Mm-hmm.
And one of my favorite episodes is when they find themselves stranded on a planet together, and they have to work together to survive and get help. And even in the end, when Odo leaves to his home world, he admits he will miss everyone, even Quark. So Quark is the one that he mentions by name.
Yeah.
So
Definitely.
Odo himself,
Go ahead.
his unique physical nature lets him, we already know, turn into almost everything. We know he has trouble with human faces, but it also sets him aside from everyone else. It makes him sort of a loner. He's seen himself his entire life as nothing, because that's what the word Odo means in Cardassian. He has no family, he thinks at the time he has no family, he had no friends, and he started life as an unknown sample. So he even started as nothing because the scientist is investigating him like he's the object, not realizing that he's sentient. So he went through a early part of his life under a lot of torture.
Yeah.
And he even says to the founder, one of the founders, when he meets her, he says, being an outsider isn't so bad. It gives one a unique perspective. And even with that isolation, though, he found himself in becoming a neutral investigator, detective for the station, security officer. He's neutral, which is why the Cardassians like him and the Federation likes him, and probably anybody who ran that station would see value in him, because he follows the evidence in such a way that so meticulously, Data would be very, very fascinated to hear all of his stories. to him, whatever solids are running the show, he'll take it upon himself to follow his sense of justice. And it takes a lot for Odo to open up to somebody. For instance, he and Garrick both reveal to each other that even though the people that are on their home worlds may be a bit immoral, they both reveal that they want to be home. Odo admits that he wants to be home, and this also happens. He also opens up when he meets Loxana. So I know that wasn't meant to be, but that was one of her best episodes to me, because she proves to be an amazing foil for his nature, and gives him compassion and understanding that that he's not afforded to until we get more of the relationship that he has with Kiera. And there's one great episode for Odo after he's sentenced to become a solid forever by the founders. Apparently, I know this isn't forever. He realizes he doesn't have the power of shape-shifting, so he becomes depressed, thinking he's worthless, thinking, no, he should just give somebody else the job. But no, Cisco makes him go on this mission, and they all, dress as Klingons, and that's just fun on its own.
Yeah,
but
Odo is
he's the one who his powers of deduction. Without him, Worf might have ended up killing Gowron instead of the real changeling, which they found out was Martok.
Yep.
Spoilers.
So true. So true. But he had already before then, after they made him human, they took away his shape-shifting powers. He already through the last time he had the link, he was able to figure out that they've got somebody in the Klingon Empire. So I thought that was really good.
Right. Well, I was thinking, did he see it wrong, or were the founders trying to misguide him and making him think that it was Gowron and not Martok?
It could be, but the fact that he still had it's that they still gave him that. Yeah, it was a trap.
Yeah, it could have been a trap, but they could have also been trying to hide it, because even like Garrick says, even the lies have some truth in them. So they probably didn't want him to see it, but just in case he did see it, he would see the wrong thing.
That's true. Hail PCAT. He says that Deep Space Nine gave all the main characters and recurring characters great character development, and in his opinion, it's better than any Star Trek series. Well, we're gonna argue, but we won't argue too much, because I agree that the character development in this series was amazing.
Yes, I like sort of poop. It says Odo appealed to my cynical, grumpy side. Quark appealed to my looking at humans from the outsider point of view, which I'll get to in a second here.
And I also like what he says. It's a rarity in the Trek universe, a competent security officer.
Yeah, he was competent. So competent that Starfleet decided to try to replace him, but there's no replacing Odo.
There is no replacing Odo. So,
Oh.
Yeah.
Should I go into Quark, or
go ahead? We have to have Quark.
Okay, so like Renee as Odo, Armin Shimmerman does a splendid job not only as Quark, but also for all of the Ferengi. If you didn't know, for every Ferengi episode, Armin Shimmerman would invite everybody who was involved in the Ferengi story to his house, so they could go over the script and everything. And so he was really into evolving the species that he represented. And he and the writers helped break the Ferengi out of that cartoonish shell that TNG put them in. making Quark complex and fascinating. He is a way for us to explore the avarice that humans in the present have. He even once tells Cisco that Ferengis represent values that humans would like to forget they ever had, but that humans were worse because they also had slavery and genocide.
Mm-hmm.
Quark even helps now and then and shows his true heart, and he tries to pretend he's indifferent, but he has compassion, especially for his family.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, people often talk about Picard's diplomacy skills, but look at Quark's.
Oh
He
my
ends
God.
up using he uses his Ferengi values to show honor to the Klingons.
Mm-hmm.
And also, he schools Vulcan in logic, showing her how peace can be earned sooner, just using the rules of acquisition.
Mm-hmm.
And that doesn't even mention how the Ferengi began relations with the worlds in the Gamma Quadrant. Cisco ends up relying on him to help trace where the Dominion, how to connect
Mm-hmm.
with the Dominion.
I thought the most iconic scene is when he brings the Negus' staff and slams it down on Quark and and makes him kiss the staff.
Yeah, he does. He does require that bit of encouragement, sure, because he is Ferengi, and
That's true.
his motivations are always going to be profit and for anything to do with Ferengi.
Yeah. My favorite Ferengi episode is the Magnificent Ferengi.
Yeah.
That it's just how you see that the Ferengi can be brave. They can go back to their old um, warrior ways if they were warriors, but it's just
More like their own
they
pirate.
yeah, pirate. But that really was my favorite, where they had to um, go. They had to make that team
Hmm.
to save Moogie.
Right.
So yes,
And
Quark
even
is
though I picked Quark, I've actually got to rewatch a lot of his episodes, because in the episodes that I rewatched, he didn't feature as much as I wanted. So we may have to revisit him for me.
yeah. We'll revisit Quark. He's definitely one that's uh, worth revisiting. Let's see. I like Snorter Poopers as usual is very uh, comes up with the proper conclusions. I like this. I suspect that this was because Armin Shimmerman had to endure playing those cartoon Ferengi on Next Generation and wanted to give them depth. Yeah,
Yes, that's
definitely.
exactly right, I think. And he took that to the extreme with, having his own separate table readings. It
Hmm.
really showed his dedication to his craft, and he
Yep.
learned a lot of respect from a lot of fans doing that.
Hmm. Definitely. Let's see. Who did? I was going to pick. I picked Dax, both of them, because I love what both brought to their particular version of Dax. But I got to go into Bashir. Uh,
Okay.
we didn't talk much. We didn't talk much into the Bashir while we were talking about Garrick, but yeah,
Yes.
he he is okay. The shave-tailed, brand new doctor coming out to practice frontier medicine. He could have gone on a starship, but he went into frontier medicine and
He
annoyed.
wanted adventure.
He wanted adventure and annoyed everybody while doing it. I
Yes.
think everybody, quite a few people throughout the first part of the season or first part of the series wanted to shove him in an airlock because he tried so
Yeah, because
hard.
he's trying to oppress everybody with everything
Mhm.
he knows.
Right, true. And everybody wanted to shove him into an airlock. But now we know why. And after my the one the one line that really got me was when he said, I could have had that question. I could have been valedictorian, except and I'm not going to mention, I couldn't even pronounce the medical stuff that he blew.
He repeats it so many times, but I can't either.
Yeah. But it
But
was
he
like,
throws it.
exactly. He did that on purpose. After, and when we find out he was augmented, yeah, I realized that, yeah, he threw it because that would have
And
gotten
he's been holding back playing darts with Miles too.
exactly. Exactly. And maybe that was probably why he had to play the buffoon uh, to keep attention off of the fact that his parents cheated on him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, son of a red
Oh,
shirt. Oh,
he had to cut himself down.
yeah, he had to cut himself down, make himself look a little too eager, and to hide himself. There's the question. Yeah, yeah, it's a rookie mistake, son of a red shirt, but when you're deliberately blowing it, um, that would it would make sense.
You have a good memory, son of a red shirt.
Yeah,
A post-gangliotic nerve for a
for a pre,
pre-gangliotic fiber.
yeah, yeah.
How could you mix
So,
those up?
but I, I think um, once they, the, once they figured out what he really was, I think that it helped bring out his character a lot more. Whereas Garrick would say, he's not human, he's a Vulcan. And then how do you explain my boyish smile? But yeah, I was at some point I was ready to airlock Bashir myself, but
Yeah.
he grew on me. Snort says they really didn't like each other.
Oh, but Bashir, the actor Colmini and
Mm-hmm.
Alexander Siddig, they didn't like
Yeah,
each other. I didn't know
yeah,
that,
yeah. I didn't either.
but their
Yeah,
characters had good chemistry. They really did have good chemistry together.
yes, they did.
Their friendship was very different between
Mm-hmm.
Bashir's friendship with Garrick. His friendship
Oh
with
yeah.
um, O'Brien was more athletic and
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and being that he could being that Bashir could have wiped the floor with him several times in each competition they did. Yeah.
mhm.
So yeah, he's a he, he was a character that you would love to hate, but then he grew on you. And it's another thing that they probably planned all this at the very beginning and decided to pick their time to reveal it.
Yeah. And isn't it his dad who ends up taking the punishment for it? Since
Yes.
it isn't really Bashir who decided to have this done to him,
No, he was a
so
kid.
they allow him to keep his post.
Yeah. Yeah, it wasn't his fault.
Mm-hmm.
And he did a good part of not having the attention. Now, of course, when he knew he could make a difference, that's when he started embracing it.
Yeah, well, he really wanted to make a difference. I think when they got stuck with the Jem'Hadar that one time, in that episode where the first asks him to help cure them from having to rely on the white, and he actually really wants to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
and that's where he kind of clashes with O'Brien, who's thinking, well, what if this has unintended consequences? And so they fight each other over that.
Yeah, exactly. Because the prospect of the Jem'Hadar not needing white would not be a good thing.
Yeah, I mean, on the one hand, you're freeing a slave race, but on the other hand, you're also giving them power that maybe shouldn't be, should definitely be talked about. Shouldn't be decided by just one person.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. The other Bashir arc I kind of liked, is with when section 30 has started to take an interest in him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I didn't like the episodes where he dealt with the other augments. Those were kind of
Oh, the think tank where they
yeah,
decide that, this is all hopeless and the
yeah,
Dominion are going to
exactly.
win, so we might as well just, end it all and let.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, I didn't
And
like those two
just,
episodes.
yeah.
Yeah, but
No, but at least I gave Cisco something to do to say, hey, no.
mm-hmm. Yeah. But the Section 31 was really intriguing, and I liked how it actually carried over into Enterprise. But it was a good subplot because it gave Bashir an enemy to have to deal with and bring out his spy fantasies. Of course, them being responsible for a potential genocide wasn't necessarily what the Federation's all about.
No, but Section 31, I think, somehow escapes the utopian nature that Starfleet goes for. They're like they're the shadow government.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah. PCAT says, loved Section 31, hated how they were done in the filth.
Yeah, the filth is the right thing to call them.
Yes.
Here.
Yes. Yeah, we don't call those shows anything other than the filth. But and PCAT says, loved how Deep Space Nine had a handful of recurring plot lines, such as the Dominion, Mirror Universe, and the Maquis. I agree.
The poor Maquis.
Mm-hmm. The former Maquis, yeah. I was not overly after crossover. The only one of the Mirror Universe episodes that I liked was the Emperor's New Cloak. Yeah, those were the only two Mirror Universe episodes that I liked. Crossover and the Emperor's New Cloak.
I really loved crossover. Everyone in that episode, their counterparts have different personalities, except for O'Brien is exactly the same.
Yeah. But O'Brien, as he later on, he does do the ends justifies the means when he keeps kidnapping Cisco.
Mm-hmm.
So, but
I loved how they did crossover because it did a lot of respect to the original series. It referenced the past directly from how Kirk had a influence. The real Kirk had an influence on Mirror Spock, and how that led to the Terrans trying to be more peaceful, and how that led to the other powers just ganging up on them.
Yep.
That was a good
But
way to do that.
yeah. But I'll tell you this: unless you're Quark and Nog, it sure does not help to be a Ferengi. Well, no, Quark and Nog did. Unless you're our Quark and Nog, or Ram, damn. It doesn't help to be a Ferengi in the mirror universe.
Well, it doesn't really help Quark either. He doesn't last more than that episode.
That's true. That's true. He dies. Ram dies. Nog dies. Yeah.
So it doesn't even help them.
Yeah. Even Brunt dies.
Mirror Ferengi should just stay on Ferengi.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Anything else on Bashir before we go to your character?
Oh well, those were my characters. I went through them.
Okay.
But I have more to say about other characters if you like.
Go ahead.
Oh, I don't know why this is in my notes, but I have here that I liked when Mirror Odo was slapping Julian, and at that point in the series, it felt right.
Yes, it did. The slapping line starts at docking bay 6 and runs through the station.
Oh, I might go back and also the mirror universe had another thing about you can tell that Avery was having the time of his life playing the pirate.
Yeah.
And Kiera gives him that speech about freedom that convinces him to go against the station, to go against the alliance. And so that was a really satisfying conclusion to that.
Yeah. Too bad that was the only time we saw Mirror Cisco.
Yeah.
I think that would have been.
Yeah, they should have built on that.
They should have.
Sure.
Instead of hijacking our Cisco.
Yeah.
I like this from Son of a Red Shirt. William Sadler from Section 31 killed Kamini in Die Hard 2. I didn't know he played in Die Hard 2. And in Deep Space Nine, Kamini got to watch William Sadler's character die. That in $2 will get you a cup of coffee. Interesting. I didn't know Kamini played in Die Hard 2. So, okay, so shall we go to another character? I think I'm going to. Well, do you have one you want to do?
Well, I thought you were going to do Dax. I'm ready for Dax if you are.
Okay, I'll do Dax.
You want to do someone else?
Sure. No, Dax is fine. She's played by. At first, she's played by Terry Farrell. Actually, now Terry Nimoy.
Right. She's married to Nimoy's son. Yeah, Adam.
So she stayed in the family business. She is a Trill. She had her symbiont, which was the symbionts were brought up in Next Generation. And actually, there's a bit of inconsistency between there because it seemed like the Trills in Next Generation were still a secret. The fact that they were joined still is a secret in Next Generation, but it seemed like based on Dax's backstory, the Trills were known well
Yeah,
before that.
yeah, they're known but exclusive.
Yeah. So the Dax symbiont was 300 years before, and 7 hosts before Jadzia. Jadzia is a science officer, uh, kind of likes Julian, but
Kind of,
kind of,
but
kind of
not like
likes.
that.
Yeah, we'll leave it at that. But her predecessor, Curzon Dax, was Cisco's mentor.
I think it's
And,
more that Dax likes Julian, not Jadzia.
oh, okay.
But
Yeah. Um, Cisco calls the Dax the old man, even though she's a woman of 28.
mhm. And I
Um,
hear that actually intimidated Terry Farrell at first, and so they had to have a little talk about that. Yeah.
oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Um, I Yeah, PCAT. I thought I heard that they wanted to go with the spots rather than the prosthetics for money reasons. It was easier to just put spots as opposed to the prosthetics. Jill, have you heard why they changed the look?
No, I don't know.
Okay. So, so she's the science officer. She was instrumental with Ben to discover the wormhole. She what she had a Klingon nature because knew the she knew the
Yeah, she had a lot of experience with Klingons.
yep, she knew the Klingon warriors Kane, Koloth, and Kor.
Mhm.
They threw blood oath.
Yeah,
Uh,
they had a blood oath together that she upholds.
mhm. So the Klingons actually knew about the Trill species. So I don't know why Next Generation made it so secretive.
I don't know.
Yeah. The book, and granted, these books are non-canon, but the Lives of Dax really explains a lot about why they kept it a secret. If that one I recommend reading, but of course the novels are not canon.
Yeah, sure. That's what makes Jadzia just a great character to learn more about the past Dax hosts that she had, and how they influence her.
Yeah, and Snort, you are not wrong. You are not wrong in that. Uh, and Son of a Red Shirt says, and we'll get into Nicole DeBoer in a bit. We still have a lot to talk about Jadzia. So she starts bringing out her Klingon nature, going on a quest for revenge,
Hmm.
which helped them.
Yes, well, without them, they were just going on a suicide run. They were just like glory for battle, and
Uh-huh.
she actually had a plan for them not to die.
Yeah, yeah. She actually figured out what was going on.
Yeah.
So they good thing she was with them. Um, Bad thing that Core is the only one
That survived.
that survived. I loved Core
Yeah,
from the very
Core's so great.
yeah. Core is great. I actually met him too in a
Oh,
con.
you did? That's awesome.
Yeah, and then I said the stupidest line, but 30-year-old idiot kid. I said, I liked you better as a Klingon than a traitor. I commenting on his skit as Baltar.
Oh,
I think he was ready to throw something at me.
whoops. Well, yeah, I love Core because he accepted Worf
Yeah.
so quickly.
Hmm. Yeah. Um, but he was always the quintessential Klingon, even back from Errand of Mercy.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, it, and then Jadzia runs into Worf, and then it's all over.
Yeah, right. That her connection to the Klingons just leads right into that relationship so perfectly.
Yeah,
And
it was. I'd say if it was probably close to the Odo Kiera relationship in just how right it felt.
mm-hmm. I agree.
Yeah, and Ducat decides it's this. In fact, Ducat decides to screw that up.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that would have been much more satisfying if Worf took a bat lift to Ducat.
Yes, that would have made a lot of sense to me because
Yeah,
he does ruin that.
Yeah,
but also Tara Farrell also had her troubles with the show, and so that also might have been why.
Yeah, if you saw, I don't know if you've seen What We Left Behind. She does a pretty poignant explanation as to what happened as her last time on the show. But I hated to see her go. I hated how she left. But because she was definitely one of the characters that she was definitely one of the more beloved characters of the in the series, especially once she started with Worf. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I do remember where Jadzia punches Martok's wife during the evaluation. Am I? Yeah.
That should be right.
Yeah, she really got tired of the condensation from Martok's wife and just had it and just popped her one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I'm sure she got more respect after that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. So
I like Dax for exploring her other hosts. Like when she finds that secret host, Joran, she's unbalanced, and she finds out that was hidden because Joran is it was a secret. It was made a secret because the truth of him says that half of Trills could actually carry a symbiote, which can't get out as a secret because then everybody's going to want one, but there aren't enough symbiotes for everybody.
Right. Yeah. I like that. I like that episode. Where they do the big reveal, and then when she starts talking with her previous hosts, which was an outstanding story. I love that story, where all her hosts go into her crewmates.
Oh yeah, we get to see all these actors play different characters, and that's always fascinating, especially Quark.
Yes, the female host, but yeah, that was it told a lot about what Dax was.
Yes, because mostly we see her as the old man, so we only get to hear about the perspective of Curzon through Sisko's relationship with him as his best friend. So it was really wonderful to see the other hosts too,
and see Curzon actually played by somebody.
Mhm.
And
Yeah, he was a really fun character. I wouldn't have minded if Odo just decided that they decided to have that ritual again, just so Odo could do that again
yeah,
for some
but
reason.
the only thing that was disappointing of that episode is it after the big reveal that Curzon had feelings for Jadzia, it
Mhm.
kind of like, eh. But of course, they're
That's
submerged
okay
in his.
now.
Yeah, it's okay now. But if you take it, yeah, they're submerged back into her psyche. That is
Well,
that would be kind of weird.
yeah, that is kind of weird because at first she just feels like she doesn't live up to Curzon, and it turns out all along that he just had the hots for her. So I
Uh-huh.
guess.
And now he's back in her and going, oh boy.
Yeah, I don't
Okay.
know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Does Worf ever have to deal with that with Curzon?
I one would wonder. Uh, during one of their more intimate moments, she screams his name. Okay, this is getting bad. But so she left in I thought was probably one of the most unsatisfying ways that ever. And I thought that Cisco should have let Worf take care of Ducat.
Yes, I think so too.
Sandra's saying naughty Dolphin.
Worf
No.
should have done it anyway. They usually don't punish him too bad.
Yeah, that's true. Worf can kill anybody, but he doesn't get. He just gets a slap on the wrist.
Like, Worf, you shouldn't have done that.
Mm-hmm. And Sandra says naughty Dolphin. Yeah. But and then snort.
I agree completely, Snort.
Good bear. Good bear.
I would hope that Worf had better taste than to become involved with Troy. He redeemed himself with Jadzia. Absolutely. I always hated that period. It was so awful.
Oh
That's the
yeah.
worst thing in season
That
7.
that was cringe. That was cringe. So
It made absolutely no sense. I don't know why they did that.
no. Yeah. Yeah, definitely redeemed himself with Jadzia. And then we can't just stop with Jadzia. We have Ezri. And actually, son of a red shirt says, where is it? Way back here. Yeah, right there. I think this says it all. Yeah, I thought she did. She brought her own. She brought her own style, and of course, it's easy with a trill because you could
You could borrow a bit
you could borrow
from
it.
Jadzia.
Yeah. And so I like the concept of Esri Dak that she did not go through it. She did not go through the training. She was one of the half of the trills that could take a symbiont. They had the symbiont was taking a turn for the worse, so they implanted it into.
Yeah, right. She was the only one around.
Mm-hmm. She was the only one around. But if you go back to Next Generation, as you could see, anybody, you don't even have to be a trill to take the symbiont. I mean, they can even give it to the Decker unit.
Oh, wait. I don't know about that.
Yeah, they gave it to the Decker unit. So, yeah, no, I'm spoiling from Raquel, but yeah. So, so she has she has to deal um, with taking in the symbiont when she didn't want it,
Mm-hmm.
and has to start trying to figure out her life after that. And actually, I like Snort's thing, which uh, Trills are a bit like Time Lords in that regenerate with hints other incarnations, but you can explore the differences. Which reminds me of an episode we didn't discuss, Jadzia, where she meets Lanara Khan.
Oh, yes, that's a great episode. I think
Yes,
I
it
had a
is.
lot to say about that one.
Yes, that was an outstanding episode. That it's like, okay, I wanna go back. I want to go back with her, but I can't because it's the rules. If this
Right.
happens,
The
I'll
rules
be
of
exiled.
association.
Yeah, I'll be exiled because every host has to be different.
And um, they really had great chemistry too, and romantic
Mhm.
chemistry together.
Yeah. Um, you know, with the original series had the first interracial kiss.
Hmm.
I'm not sure, but obviously this is the first same-sex kiss in at least Star Trek. I don't know if
We can
it's
at least
ever.
say it's the first most passionate one. I mean, because this is how it's done. This is peak Star Trek for me in terms of the idic philosophy,
Mhm.
infinite diversity and infinite combinations. So that, and
Mhm.
the reason why it's done so well is because their love isn't described as anything except how real they are with each other. The gender of the two are never brought up. It is
Right.
all natural.
Hmm. Because the thing is it's the people are the hosts. The ones with probably the real feelings for each other are the symbionts.
Yes.
So, but um, so we digressed a little bit on that. But so Esri has issues. She doesn't want the symbiont. She's stuck with the symbiont, and she's got all these. Hey, Tyron. Good day, mate. Welcome.
Oh, Tyron's here. Hi, Tyron.
Yep, Tyron Beard's here. Welcome. So she's got to deal with all this noise in her head, um, and all she wanted to
Oh, right,
do.
and she's not even prepared for it. Everybody else who have had DAX went through the training except for her, so she's thrown into it, thrown
They
into a
gave her a
fire.
book. They gave her a book.
Go study.
Yeah. So what does she do? Probably the only thing she could think of in the circumstances: find Cisco, which was probably the best thing to happen to both Ben and her.
Hmm.
So, because that
Yeah,
he was
yeah,
able to toss things
and
off on her.
and it also kind of helped Jadzia's friends who were still really upset about her loss, Jadzia's loss.
Hmm. Yeah. Uh, I'd say the only two that really didn't want anything to do with her was Garrick at first,
Hmm.
because he was going through his own uh,
Oh yeah,
psychic
yeah.
ish, his psychic issues, and Worf, for obvious reasons.
I need food.
So, um, good bear snort. Give him some salmon or sushi. I've got sushi.
Oh, that's right. Okay, so I haven't been able to rewatch these episodes with Esri yet. So,
Yeah.
um, was she? Was she a bit like a counselor? I'm trying to
Yeah,
remember
she
what she was
became a
like.
she was trained under Destiny as a counselor until she got the Trill. And then Ben gave her lieutenant and made her the station's counselor.
Mhm.
So she ended up with that,
Oh, okay. And
and
that's how she helps Garrick, or
that's how she helped Garrick. But she wasn't quite. She was still trying as an amateur to be the counselor,
right?
but that. Uh, but then she was able to do it after she got a little bit more confidence.
Yeah, and I'm sure if we had more seasons with her, she would have grown too.
Oh
And
yeah,
we didn't really have a lot of time with her for her to
no,
grow.
no, but she made the best out of her part.
Hmm.
She made
Absolutely.
the best out of her part by plus the portrait. The canvas is there. With a Trill, you could
Right.
you
She
could
already has
do
history.
yeah, and you could do other things with it. Um, the yeah,
And we get to see her just like tossed into this war that she
hmm
wasn't a part of. Just like, here you go. Good
yep,
luck.
yeah. Good luck. You've got you've got a whole station, and you've got to deal with their psychological
Hmm.
difficulties. Which uh, one of my favorite with her was the well. I have so many favorites with her because she's just a great actress. Uh, the one with Line of Fire, where she actually had to bring out the psychopath to help solve that crime.
Oh yeah.
That one was probably one of the better Esri episodes because she was able to. She had to bring him out to have him teach her the dark side of killing, so she could discover the murderer.
Oh, you mean she needed to? Okay, so we're back to Duran again. Then she had
Yeah, she
to.
brought back
She had to.
Duran. She brought
Yeah.
back
Okay.
Duran to
Right, because he
help
was the
her.
crazy one.
He was the crazy one, yes.
And those memories helped her catch the killer.
Mm-hmm. Yes, because he actually helped her think like the killer,
Right.
which uh, which I thought was a very compelling episode. So, Snort. I can't argue with that, Snort.
Yes, Zordapoopus, you're rocking on that.
Yeah.
Esri was a better counselor in the end than that moron on TNG. Counselor
Yep.
obvious. Yes.
Yeah. Yes, definitely.
Yes, even though Esri was inexperienced, she had a lot of heart in that, and
Hmm.
she actually had to work hard for what she accomplished. So yeah,
Yeah.
I agree with that.
Yeah, definitely. So the but yeah, I think I'm not sure. I'm not sure um, whether I liked the Esri Bashir relationship. I, I'm still out on that one, but
Yeah, I kind of felt like they were just like, oh, they're both youngish. Let's put them together. It didn't
yeah,
really, it didn't
yeah,
really fit too well. I
hmm
don't know.
yeah. I mean, the Worf relationship was done with, so yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. Um, so Captain Janeway, Mrs. Columbo herself. Yeah. But so if she had the chance to, she made an impression. It was just, it wasn't enough time. It wasn't enough time for her to make her mark.
Yeah, I agree completely.
Especially with
another 3 seasons.
especially with this established group as
Yeah,
that.
the ensemble was so tied together, so much family that
Yeah. So,
Steph Ringern.
well, let's see. Do you have a character you want to go in for the next 15 or so minutes? This time, I will admit, this time just flew. I mean, it's hard to believe
right.
an
And this
hour
has been a lot of fun too.
Yeah.
I kind of don't have as much in fleshed out for Jake and Nog as I want, so I kind of want to save that.
Okay.
For next time, and those are also, I feel the same way about Worf. I have so much more to say than I have.
Yeah. Well, in the next 15 minutes, let's go back to Cisco, because I know there's one episode that we both agree really defined himself, and that was In the Pale Moonlight.
Great.
I know we talked a little bit about that, but that one to me really brought out that he's willing to do whatever it takes to end this war and this slaughter.
Yes, and he knows he can't do it alone.
Mm-hmm.
So he has Garrick helping him, but he thinks it's just a simple false flag operation. Just to convince the Romulans that the Dominion is attacking them or planning to.
Yeah.
But it becomes so much more messy, so much more bloody than that.
Well, yeah, a little sabotage, a little ship blowing up. It's a fake. I love that line. It's a fake.
That line, that's one of my favorite gifts.
Yeah, it's a fake. Yeah, I love that line. I also like that. I know this is kind of like a nitnoy thing, but I like where somebody finally gave us the real name of Romulan Ale.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know if anybody caught that but me, but it's not Romulan Ale, it's Khalifa.
All right.
Yeah. Okay, I'm a nerd.
No, that's good. That's great. I love hearing that type of thing.
Yeah, but that episode, and I don't know who the actor was, but the way that he and Cisco just bounced off of each other was really good. He's like, why should I talk to you? You guys are losing the war. Go away.
Mm-hmm.
So that chemistry was amazing. Yeah. Snort's doing a little bit of Mark C with a D, quoting the line. But that was.
Oh yeah, Garrick was right about one thing. A guilty conscience is a small price to pay for the safety of the Alpha Quadrant. So I will learn to live with it, because I can live with it. I can live with it. It really sounds like Cisco is just trying to convince himself that he can live with it.
Yep. And then he does this.
Computer, erase that entire personal log.
Yep.
Can he live with it?
Yeah. So.
It's not whether he can, he has to.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's something he had to. It's something he did, something he's got to live with for the rest of his life.
Mhm.
So that
And all the costume was a senator and that guy who made the engineer who made the
yeah,
fake
hmm
message.
yep, the fake message, a bribe to a Ferengi.
Hmm.
So yeah, but that was probably one of the best character moments. Well, one of the best character moments of Cisco.
Yeah,
The
I
you can
agree.
argue that the ones where he went back into the 50s. God, I
Oh,
forgot
the
the name.
60s? Trials and Tribulations?
No.
No? Oh, okay.
The ones where he went back as the author of Deep Space
Oh,
Nine,
oh, right. Far Beyond Our Stars or
Far
something.
Beyond the Stars. Yeah, those were great character studies. But
Yes, but he wasn't
again,
playing Cisco there. But
he
yes,
wasn't
that
playing
was.
Cisco, so it really
But
doesn't
yeah,
count. Um, this is probably the one that says more about Cisco's character and moral complications than any of the other episodes.
yep.
So, but um, wow, wow. I'd say this is probably a good spot to wind things down. This was great, Jill. I thank you for coming.
You're
This
welcome.
this was
And,
I think it was amazing.
yes, and I
We
plan to get even deeper into the series to have a lot more to say next time
yes,
on absolutely everything.
yeah, me too. This is just an outstanding series. Uh, we both love it, and I think we both show that we love this series just by the talk, just by the interaction we had. So thank you again for coming, and I'm looking forward to having you on other episodes where we can discuss this. Yeah, the Goddess
Um,
Legion is already asking, and I can give you that answer. Um, we're going to do it January 19th.
19th.
January 19th will be part 2. And this may spawn into even bigger and better versions of it. One can only tell. There's a lot to discuss with Deep Space Nine. And again,
Yes.
I'm keeping this away from from specific episodes because one, I don't think I have if there's even a block text for Deep Space Nine. I
There
know there's
is Deep Space Nine Companion.
yeah,
Um,
that one.
it's like for $100 on eBay, but I didn't
Yeah,
buy
I
it.
saw that. I'm like, yeesh. So
I
I
mean, I
think I'll
really
wait.
want it though, but
Yeah,
yeah, I'll wait. I'll wait for Raquel to
yeah,
worry
we'll
about
wait
that.
for Raquel to.
And so, we won't be doing too deep episode analysis. We'll keep it based on the characters and their interactions with each other, and I think that worked really well today.
Yes, and I plan on to go into in depth on the arcs because we haven't even touched the Dominion War. We haven't touched the
No, we didn't
Klingon
do any of
War.
the arcs really. We
Yeah,
barely talked about the mirror universe.
mm-hmm. That's true. So there's a lot to talk about Deep Space Nine, and I snort. We're telling Raquel.
Oh,
We're
yeah, he's
telling
probably not lying
Raquel.
either. He is going to tell.
We're telling Raquel. So let me run some show notes, and then we will. I'll, we'll do the farewell to the chat, and then we will call it an evening. So for the for the rest of the year, we're going to have next week on Wednesday. I'm going to discuss Beth Ambrosia. You know her husband, Gary Ambrosia. She has a bunny rescue, and I'm going to bring her on, and we'll talk about it.
Yes, save the bunnies.
Yeah, save the bunnies. We'll have her come on do that on the 29th, just in time for the new year. We have the amazing Wendy Webb coming back with more hospital stories. And
All right.
what other uh, hilarious tidbits she may have. She's already told me a few. I'm keeping those to myself right now. In January the 5th, I don't have anything. That might be a just cause. The 8th is going to be Andy Masterson's coming in to show some of his creations.
Oh, that'll be a showstopper right there. Can't wait for that.
Yeah, definitely. The 12th, well, it's still 10 and I'm still waiting on Klobby to confirm, but Klobby and Raquel will be coming, and I'd like to talk about the Fantastic Four.
All right, that'll be great. I'd love to hear Raquel on this channel.
Yeah.
Oh, fun.
Me too. The 19th will be us doing part 2. The 22nd, we're going to have a panel with Baron Norman Tagg, the Great Fet for Hire, and John Rendell will be having a panel. The 26th, we'll have PJ from Orville Nation giving us. I'd like to do an Orville 101 for those of us who have not seen the Orville.
Very cool, and that is so awesome because it's just a couple of months before March 10th when the Orville season 3 New Horizons comes out. So I'm really psyched for that.
Okay. And then beginning of February 5th, I have a friend of mine. He's my drum instructor. His name's Bailey Kirchhoff. He taught me about playing the drums, and he's part owner of a music school, Sloan Music, and he'll be coming on to talk about the startup of a music store. So a lot of good stuff coming up on King Dolphin TV. Everybody come and join because we just are going to make waves every and any way we can. Please, everybody, like and subscribe. I am hanging on at 84 subscribers. I'd like to get past that first 100 subscriber milestone. And I've got a contest planned that once I get that, we will do a raffle, much like Raquel did on the first season of the Next Generation, or not Next Generation, the original series. So we're going to, after we get to the 100, if everybody could send me their names, and then we'll do a raffle. The prizes will be, for those who don't have the books, the grand prize will be signed copies of my 2 books, All's Fair and Peacemaker. If you have the books, I'll have an alternate gift for the grand prize. The second prize, again, if you don't have the books, will be a signed copy of All's Fair. And if you do have the books, there'll be something else. But we still got some time, hopefully sooner rather than later, because I'd like to get 100 by the end of the year. So please tell your friends, like and subscribe, and get us past that first 100. I think you told me I get a URL if I hit 100.
Yes,
right, Jill?
Yes, that's right. If you get to 100 subscribers, you can change your URL to be the name of your channel instead of just the little code.
Whatever they give me. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You'll still be able to get to your channel by that, but you'll have an easier way for your subscribers to type in your channel name.
Okay, great. Yeah, so help me get past this first milestone, and we will celebrate with a raffle and maybe a special stream. So, do international subs, are they included to draw? Well, hold on. We should be fine with international, right? Legatus Legionnaire is asking about international, and we should be fine with that.
Yeah, should be fun.
Yeah, Legatus Legionnaire, we should be fine.
Yeah. So would that 100 subscriber stream be like your birthday stream? Because that was a lot of fun.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, that's probably what we'll do, and then we'll do the raffle probably right after the next episode. After that, we'll figure it out. Let's just get to that 100. I am waiting patiently. So everybody, this has been wonderful, and it's been you guys that helped us do this. Jill and I are here to entertain you, and we hope we did. So let us all, let me thank each and every one of you, and we'll shout out. Good night, Legion. Thank you, Legatus Legionnaire, P-Cat, and of course, Snorter Poopus. Your comments are spot on. You're amazing.
Yes,
Go ahead.
I agree. I agree.
He needs a truck full of salmon. You need a truck full of salmon, my bear. Tyron Bear, thank you for coming all the way from Australia. We got to get you here.
Yeah, by
Rennie
boat
A,
or by plane, or
by hook or by crook, by slow boat, by ferret drawn chariot. We'll get you here. PCAT, thank you. Rennie A, thank you for coming. Son of a red shirt, you were. Your comments were amazing tonight. John Randall, thanks for coming. We'll have you on the panel soon. We've already mentioned that. Son of a red shirt, have a good night. Yeah, let's see.
Good night, guys.
Yeah, have I missed anybody? And of course, I could not forget Sandra. Thank you, honey, for your help, for your wrenching, for your help, for being my muse, everything. You're amazing. And I think that's everybody. Thank you, Jill, for taking time and coming out and
You're welcome. It was my pleasure. I hope to be able to expand on this even further next time.
Oh, I'm sure we will. We'll make it great episodes every time you're on. Oh, good night to Orville Nation. Talk to you later, PJ. And I saw somebody else. I want to make sure I get everybody. And I think Mayor McCheese was on.
Mayor McCheese.
Mayor McCheese was on. Thank you for coming, if you're still out there. And I think that is it. So everybody, we had a bot. This Beverly Francis person.
That was the weirdest thing. That bot, it said its message, but then it deleted its own message. So I was a bit confused about that.
Yeah. Well, good thing I don't see the just to show how I don't pay attention when I'm yapping my mouth. Fabio, thank you for coming. And I think that is everybody. So until next week, I would like to say, let's make some waves. Everybody have a good night. And for those of you who are still doing your holiday shopping, be safe while you do your holiday shopping. And obviously, we'll be talking before Christmas, so I'll give you Christmas weekends or wishings next week. So everybody have a great weekend, and have a good night, and let's make some waves. And here's the closing for you, Jill.